and get in the driving simulator. All right, Pocono Raceway. The unique thing here at Pocono is, of course, the 3 different corners. Each one of them are so much different. It's incredible how realistic this is. The bumps are so similar. It's like a test session. You're on the radio talking to your engineers, telling them what the car's doing. They're making adjustments. Coming off of turn 3, we're up to 4th gear past the start-finish line. Gonna go between the 1 and the 2 marker here. Certainly qualifying, you'll see drivers get all the way down to that 1 marker, downshift into 3rd, right on the yellow line. Got to be careful picking up that throttle a little bit too early if the car's rotating good for you. You can get the back end to come around. Back up to 4th gear. Coming into the tunnel turn, go right about the caution light right there on your right side. That's usually about where you turn in. Down to 3rd with this new package. It seems like up to 4th, now you get to the 1 marker. Heavy braking, downshift to 3rd, really flat, long turn 3 here. Car really can come around on you if you try to carry too much throttle getting in there. And that's a lap at Pocono Raceway.
Well, you didn't look like you were having fun there. Pretty intense.
That's how realistic it is.
Focus, yes. That's what it takes.
And that truly is why drivers don't talk on the radio when they're on the racetrack, because you're so focused on all those marks. And that's what's amazing about the simulator. I'm hearing more and more teams and drivers using it as a tool. This year, we came into the series, or into this season, with less downforce. Well, how does that affect things? How does that affect your braking? All those, the setup here at Pocono. It's an amazing tool. I have a blast driving it, but I'm more impressed with how the teams are utilizing it.
Yeah, I see that the drivers today have so many more tools. Our toolbox was limited. We didn't really have simulators. We didn't have some of the tools that these teams have today to set the cars up to make the driver more comfortable. What I like about that, I think it's more effective for a young driver. It's kind of for an older driver, so I didn't like that this way and I didn't like that this way. A young driver doesn't know. He gets in there, he picks it up, and that's what he sees when he hits the racetrack. I think it's a little bit more effective for a younger driver that hadn't had a lot of experience.
Especially somebody like Bubba Wallace, who's making his debut this weekend. Big tool for him. He, has never been in a Cup car here before.
Yeah, we're going to hear from him. We'll talk with him in just a bit. Let me ask you about which drivers do you think will attack today this track the best and why?
Ooh, well, I think your pole sitter, Kyle Busch. I mean, of course,
there's never won here.
Well, we keep talking every weekend. This is the weekend Joe Gibbs Racing is going to get their first win. Well, their performance of their cars is continuing to get better. And Kyle Busch, again, back-to-back poles. I know he's never won here, but he's led quite a few laps. He is really strong here today. I think good chance he gets it today.
Yeah, I think his brother, Kurt, who won this race last year, an aggressive driver. The thing about this place, you have to be aggressive. You got to be smooth. You got to be as smooth as silk and strong as steel, because you got to be able to make those shifts. And you got to focus all day long. You can't get lazy about it and miss one. You got to stay on top of your game. And a guy like Kurt Busch, he could get it done.
And Jimmie Johnson, who has 3 wins this year, again, off at another. Even though he's won here 3 times, this isn't one of his better tracks, right? In terms of comfort level.
When you look at a track like last week at Dover, he gets his 11th win. Yeah, this is not a track where he's dominated, but he can certainly win. Going to be starting pretty far back. All the Hendrick cars really didn't qualify very good, but I did see their speed increase quite a bit in practice. Yeah.
I think a lot of cars don't have the raw speed to run that fast lap, but the Hendrick cars, to me, what has impressed me, the race comes to them. They seem to have the pace. They seem to be able to run the race pace and consistently more than some of the other teams can.
All right, Joey Logano has had some success here. In fact, as a teenager, Joey heard the expectations, including the nickname Sliced Bread, as in the best thing since. He didn't really like that nickname, but it was there. 18 career wins, now at age 27. He's had a fun ride, but he points to Pocono as the tipping point.
Pulling away with a huge smile on his face, the timeliest of wins, something he will never forget.
I'm Joey Logano, and this is the race that changed my life. The race that changed my life was Pocono in 2012. It was very special to me for a lot of different reasons. For one, that was the week that all the rumors came out about Matt Kenseth taking over the 20 car.
Joe, you've been pretty open about the fact that the heat's on you a little bit more this year. It's a contract year for you. Have you been told anything further from Joe or JD about what's up?
No, I haven't been informed on where I stand for next year yet, so it's all up in the air.
And I remember that's all the questions were about all the negative things going on, and it wasn't no rumor to me. I knew it was happening. The writing was on the wall. The stories were being told.
You know, for sure right now my future's not set with anybody.
So you can imagine that pressure and that stress that gets put on you.
The green flag in the air. We are underway.
Joey Logano gets away with the lead.
We started up front, lead a lot of laps. Wow, we got something here. This is a pretty spectacular car.
So far, very strong for Logano.
It's nice when your car has speed from the get-go because you're able to kind of take your time and really methodically think things through.
Best finish of the year for race leader Joey Logano, 8th. He's looking for much more this afternoon.
Everything that I've been trying to learn and put together worked out at the right time.
Here we go down the stretch at Pocono.
And then race Mark Martin, who was my childhood hero at the end of the race.
He is all under Mark Martin. He got him sideways. Martin sideways off the corner. Here comes Joey Logano.
After that, knowing that there was 5-6 laps left, I have never been that nervous driving a car. I remember I was shaking. Like, I've never, it was the weirdest feeling.
Joey Logano back to victory lane today at Hackman's at Pocono.
You are the real deal, brother. Woo, thank you. That is awesome.
I just remember smoking them up and driving the victory lane, and it's been a long time since we won, so you can imagine how good everyone felt for breaking through. The future was still very fuzzy. That quite possibly could have been the last Cup race that I've ever won. If it wasn't for that win, I'm not sure I'd have the opportunity to drive the 22 car like I do today.
All right, well, I'd buy stock in Joey Logano no matter what, but lately, since that encumbered win thing, right, the Richmond, I mean, the last few haven't been good. In fact, Ford, they won 5 of the first 10 races lately, haven't been much of a factor. But when you see that, Jeff, and you think about Joey and how important this place is to him and the kind of driver he is, this could be a turnaround day for him.
Yeah, I don't know why they've lost speed since then, but I do see them slowly starting to gain it back. And this weekend in particular, seeing a little bit more speed out of them in qualifying and in practice. And this is his style of a racetrack. You saw that move that he made on Mark Martin to win that race that day. He's aggressive, especially on those restarts, and so he could definitely turn it around here.
Yeah, a couple of things come to mind. When you're doing something to your car to make it fast, and all of a sudden they take that away from you. And I'm not saying that's illegal. Maybe you were doing something that gave you some speed that nobody else had, and you lose that. It takes time to overcome that, to figure out how do I get back to where I was. That may be what's been going on with that team. But what I like about Joey Logano is his maturity. He has gone through a lot in a very short period of time. Expectations were not met when he was stepped into the Cup car. But since then, I think he's figured out one thing. You've got to work hard. And I think he works as hard as anybody now to be good.
And the story goes that Brad Keselowski was a guy who recruited, wanted him to be his teammate, and they seem to get along fine. We see them hanging out, and they seem to work well together.
I think it's part of the success of Penske right now in those two teams and how well all of them work well together, the chemistry there, but especially those two drivers and how well they communicate.
Well, I think that Brad likes to be pushed. I think he likes to be driven. And I think he knew Joey was a guy that would do that. You don't want a teammate that can't help you. And I think he saw a lot in Joey Logano that would make them both better if he was his teammate.
Yeah, and he did a nice job in the announcer role in the booth with Kevin Harvick, right? Both now in the Ford family. There's a little history there. In fact, Mark Martin didn't like the way that moved. Remember, he respected Logano, but he didn't like that move.
Well, he knew it was a move that won the race that he lost. So
yeah, there you go.
Never going to like that one.
All right, we're glad you're watching. Race day here live from Pocono, Pennsylvania.
Coming up on a jam-packed edition of Race Day, Denny Hamlin joins us live in the Hollywood Hotel. Next, Darrell Waltrip sits down with 83-time winner Jimmy Johnson. Then, DW and Ryan Blaney shoot the breeze. Plus, we'll check in with Bubba Wallace trackside as he prepares to make his historic start in the 43 car. And Michael does the grid walk, tricky triangle style. All that and more ahead on Race Day.
Get in a qualifying round. Look at that swing.
Holy
Denny Hamlin.
Holy.
We know he can drive.
I think those pants might disqualify him. I don't know.
He likes to look the part. Driver of the FedEx 11 car, Denny Hamlin with us. How are you?
I'm doing good.
Hey, by the way, 11 years ago to the exact date, you won your very first Cup race here in Pocono.
Feels like a million years.
Yeah?
Usually people are like, I felt like yesterday. No, not for me. It feels like a long time ago.
Aging in a hurry.
Yeah.
Well, on that note, I mean, your first 10 races here, 4 wins, I think an average finish of like 8th. Last 10, buddy.
Yeah.
15.5, no wins. I know you've mentioned about the repave. You know, can you allude to a little bit more detail about what you think has kept you from getting back to victory lane?
Well, I think two things. We used to not shift here as well, so there was two things that really changed: the repave and the shifting that seemed to kind of take things out of whack. We had a different car change. We went to the new generation car. So, yeah, I mean, it seems like the reward with the old pavement was back off early on entry, get a good run on exit. It is nothing about attacking nowadays, you know, with the newer paved racetracks, and so it just really hasn't fit my driving style exactly the way I hoped.
Well, Denny, I always hear everybody talk, oh, well, they're just experimenting. They're trying things. They're getting ready for the playoffs. You're not trying things. You're trying to win races, right?
Yeah.
You're trying to win every week.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, for me, it's been pretty cut and dry that every time that there's a rules change of some sort, aero rule change, it just takes me personally longer to figure it out. Every time I go back to a racetrack for the second time, it shows every year of my career, when I go back to the track for the second time in the chase, we're always way better than what we are the first time. You know, for whatever reason, it just takes me a longer time to get adapted to find what I need in the car to go fast with a new package.
I know. I talked to crew chiefs. I said, what's wrong with your car? You got the wrong spring shocks? No. Aero. That's all I hear. Everything is aero.
Yeah, it changes so much that, you know, everything changes within your car when they change something with the aero.
Well, I know, you know, we keep talking about JGR. Where's JGR at? And we've been seeing the performance getting better and better each week. I know you're starting 18th today, but you talk about backing it up. Today, I think you're going to have to back up that entry. With this aero package, I think that entry is going to slow down. Is that going to suit you, or can you get up through there from 18?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, you know, I think the biggest thing that will help us today is the stages. We saw yesterday there was a lot of different strategy played and a lot of things that you can do to gain track position.
You nailed that yesterday, by the way.
Yeah,
well,
good
job.
Me and Larry, my help with Larry, but I tell you, this gives us an opportunity to not panic on our qualifying position, knowing that we have those stages that we can mix our strategy in and gain track position.
You want to share some of that strategy with us? I mean, we won't tell anybody.
We will pit sometime in the first segment.
There we go. Hey, we saw Jeff on a simulator, you know, with Pocono. Are you big on that? I know video games too. You enjoy doing that. Sometimes those things help.
It does. You know, those things. It's really evolved. Each manufacturer has a really good one that they lean on for setups and data. And I haven't found as much useful for me, other than, you know, really I can do it at home on my personal simulator.
Okay.
Get used to the shifting and things like that. It's just hard for me. I don't feel the speed and I don't feel the braking in simulators. So that to me is hard for me to kind of wrap my heads around.
Yeah, Denny, when you're not running well and things aren't going well, not that it's been terrible, but do you get down? Does your confidence take a hit? How does a driver handle bad days, and what do you tell Wheels, the crew chief, and how do you guys work through that?
Well, there's light at the end of the tunnel. We've been running better over the last month, and I mean, we're still 9th in points, so we're running not very average at best, and we're still in a points position where once we start to hit it, we can gain a lot of spots and still end the regular season in a good spot and have some more bonus points going into the playoffs. It's, you know, you can talk about bubbles and all that. I'm confident we're going to be just fine. We'll make the chase like we always have, and we're going to perform at a high level once we get there. But it's a process, and it's trying times right now to figure out what we need to do to go as fast as the 18 each and every week.
And get there. Right, before we let you go, you look comfortable in a fire suit. You look like Anchorman, all dressed up. That photo that we had.
Look at that.
I mean, that right there is a TV executive if I ever saw one.
You could be doing a Wake Up New Jersey with your co-host after the Pocono race. All right, good job. Thanks for coming in. All right, appreciate it.
Good luck.
Thanks, guys.
All right, we thank Denny for coming in with us. And we continue. Jimmy Johnson just one behind Darrell Waltrip on the all-time win list, and that made for an interesting conversation. That's straight ahead, live on FS1. And we welcome you back. Everybody ready to race here in Pocono live on race day. Good to have you watching FS1. He's got a long way to go to catch the all-time leader, the King, Richard Petty. The reason we bring this up, Jimmy Johnson moving up to 83rd. We got our Jeff Gordon there at 93. Darrell Waltrip next on the hit list with Bobby Alice. And Jimmy, his win last week tied with his hero, Cale Yarborough. We talked about that and left him close. So that has Darrell and Jimmy talking and worth listening to.
So you got 83 wins, and that in and of itself is amazing. And you tied your hero, Cale Yarborough.
So cool.
He was a hero of mine, but the funniest thing I think I read or heard was where you said you went into a Hardy store and you're a little guy expecting to meet your hero.
I did. I mean, growing up in Southern California, our exposure to NASCAR was very limited. And I was a Cale fan, though, and didn't understand the wonders of sponsorship, I guess. And to see that Hardee's car, we pulled up to a Hardee's restaurant and we went in to get something to eat. And I walked in thinking I would see Cale, and I just got a burger.
I think that's hilarious. How does Jimmy Johnson feel about the accomplishments of Jimmy Johnson?
It feels amazing, first and foremost. You know, I spent a large part of my career, especially in my younger years, my early pro years, not doing so well. I mean, I did just enough to stay alive and survive and make it to that spot. And if I didn't have people believing in me, I wouldn't be here today. There is no one more shocked that I have all these wins and championships than myself, because I mean, I grew up on the dirt, and this was a hobby for me. It was fun. I didn't have the big dream of NASCAR. It slowly developed, and then I'm like, wow, you know, this is what I want to do. So I'm more shocked than anyone out there.
You know, you think about Michael Jordan, you think about Tom Brady. They just come to mind instantly. How do you think you'll be remembered?
I don't know where I'm going to net out. You know, I've never been one driven by stats, and at some point in time, I'll decide that, you know, I don't want to be at the racetrack each and every week for whatever the reason is, and we'll see where I am there and how I fit in the conversation. But it is a cool thing to be in the conversation with Petty, with Earnhardt, to be in a position to potentially tie you and Bobby for wins. So I think there's still plenty of pages left in the book, and we have to see where it goes.
Well, everybody always told me, said, if you're going to dream, dream big, because it just might come true. I think your dreams are coming true, my friend.
So far, yes, sir.
When you look at hitting that number, these are the number of starts when you got that to that magic number. And look at that, 558 for Darrell to hit 84. And 557 Jimmy today, and who knows how soon. Maybe, you know, the discussion is always up best ever, but I think we're watching the best ever play out here.
Yes, we
or
are.
At least one of them.
And those numbers, I mean, I think that's the fastest anybody has ever gotten to those numbers. Is that correct?
One of the fastest.
Yeah, one of the fastest. He's right in there with a lot of us other guys, but yeah, one of the fastest.
And the competition, yeah, that would be the argument, is greater now, maybe, in terms of the number of drivers, right?
Yeah, well, I think more, we always think today's competition is much greater than it was back in my era or in Richard's era. We always say that, but I think the thing that separates him from all of the rest of us is, yeah, I've got 3 championships. Yeah, you've got 4. Jimmy Johnson has 7.
And counting.
And that's rare air.
Yeah.
That's rare air.
And the helmet thing is kind of cool, how he paid tribute with Cale Yarborough, and then obviously he said, when we had him in last week, he said, you're next, Darrell.
Well, you know what I told him? I said, now, look, dude, these wins run out somewhere along the way. This might be it.
I think it's so cool how Jimmy's honoring these respecting these legends in the sport. And boy, I don't know. He could go out there and get 84 here in the next few weeks.
One of the things, he never says I. I hardly ever hear him say about what I did.
Yeah.
It's always what we did. He's a humble guy, and he's been that way ever since I've known him. My girls always said that he is a Southern gentleman to the core.
And very coachable. You and I were talking off the air. The only tracks he hasn't won, Watkins Glen, Chicago, and Kentucky, right, was the other one.
The thing that's amazing about Jimmy Johnson, what weakness does he have? I mean, it doesn't, every time, and if he has a weakness, he goes and focuses on it. Road courses. I want to win a road course. What do? He won a road course. Restarts. I got to get better at restarts. He gets better on restarts. Right now, he's got to get better at qualifying. I wouldn't be surprised if in the next month, all of a sudden he's on poles.
Well, he said, and one of the things he said to me, he said, I'm very I said, you're so coachable. He said, I've always been that way. I've had great mentors coaching me my whole career, and I know to listen, and they give me good information, and I go and apply it.
Yeah, and he was coaching, you said restarts. Johnson's win, the one we're talking about that moved him up, a result of the final restart, overtime last week in Dover. Kyle Larson was the leader before the caution. He chose to restart from the outside on the front row. That put Johnson on the inside. And even though Larson was aggressive, we saw Jimmy win it.
Well, Kyle Larson's fantastic on restarts. He has a little bit of an issue spinning the tires, getting going, and he doesn't like to be leading on those restarts. But other than that, he's phenomenal. So, you know, he went up against Two of the best, and 7-time one.
and Kyle Larson, that's his 5th second-place finish this season. We know that he has a win. He was the points leader for a while. Chris Neville is standing by with the driver of the 42.
Well, it doesn't seem to matter the size or the shape of the racetrack. Kyle Larson has been a threat every single weekend. And Kyle, when you know you can run at front every weekend, how special is that?
Oh, it's just a lot of fun right now. I've never been in this position really in my NASCAR career, and especially in both series, Xfinity and Cup. I'm finally running up in the top 5. It seems like every race, and that's a fun place to be. So it's due to a lot of hard work there with everybody that they put in at Chip Ganassi Racing and our great sponsors, Target and Credit One Bank and everybody else who's involved. So just enjoying it, and hopefully we can pick up some more wins.
Last week you said you need to improve on late race restarts. How does a driver do that?
You just put yourselves in those positions more often, and you get better each time. So I've lost a lot of races on late restarts like that, and I've learned stuff from each of them. So with those losses, I'm still building as a driver, and hopefully if all the stuff I learned this year, and we're in position at Homestead on a final restart again, we can do the right things and win a championship.
Thanks, Kyle.
You heard him say he's still building as a driver. Does he have you see the early signs in him where he can kind of follow a Jimmie Johnson's success pattern?
We talk about the greatness of Jimmie Johnson. That right there, Kyle Larson is the next Jimmie Johnson.
Really?
Absolutely.
Oh, that's big, coming from you especially. Wow.
Well,
Agree with that, Darrell?
Yeah, well, I think a couple things come to mind. I think at tracks where he's been successful, the bigger racetracks, California, Michigan, 2-mile racetracks, where you can really be a little reckless. You can get driving in a little hard and catch it and save it. Tracks were a little tighter, like Dover, sometimes you get in trouble there. But he's building a notebook. As a young driver, he's building that notebook of experiences, and you get those experiences when you go up against a 7-time champ.
What's his greatest asset, real quick, that allows you to say that?
I think, and again, going back to Jimmie Johnson, what's made him so good is living on the edge. Like DW said, where he can push it and push the limits and just hang it and hold on to it right there. And I think Chip Ganassi Racing, give them a lot of credit. Chad Johnson, they've given him the race cars this year where he can go and do that and carry a lot of speed and do it consistently.
And he's shown his loyalty, Kyle has, when people have come knocking to Chip Ganassi. Straight ahead, watch what happened when Ryan Blaney went for a ride with Darrell Waltrip to pick his brain.
Uh-oh.
I'm going to let you fill in the blank, okay? Because we're live on race day.
It was a short ride.
Dale Earnhardt Jr., we're back live here in Pocono, the only repeat winner at Pocono in the last 11 Pocono races.
Yeah, this guy.
Having to go to the back, though.
Yeah, he's having to go to the back, transmission or engine change because of a missed shift in practice. Going to be fun to watch him come up through. There's a few coming from the back. Also, Martin Truex Jr.
And the rookie last year, Chris Buescher, he won this race the last time they ran in Pocono.
It's just not foggy enough for him to win today.
Okay. Daniel Suarez, he has finished 11th or better in the last 3 races. He's had a couple of top 10 finishes, hanging around some pretty good people there, a couple of champions. 7-time Jimmie Johnson, and you got Brad Keselowski in the background with Dale Earnhardt Jr.
Yeah, the question is, are they talking about shifting in Pocono or soccer later on FS1?
And 23-year-old Ryan Blaney is Wood Brothers Ford searching for that first win. He's led more laps this season than Jimmie Johnson, and he took a lap with our Darrell Waltrip.
I love my little atomic electric vehicle here. It's fun to drive. It's got air conditioning. It's got power windows. Roll up your window so we don't get all that noise. It's got XM radio, street legal, got a windshield wiper. And I was thinking, what young driver reminded me of my little electric car? You know who I thought of? Hey!
I like your ride.
Come on, let's go.
All right, don't wreck this thing now.
Get in here and sit down.
I heard this thing goes like 40.
Ryan Blaney. Just shooting the breeze with DW. You seem like an old soul to me when you're riding around in your hot rod. But what kind of music you like? What do you like to listen to?
I enjoy listening to country music, whether it's kind of the older stuff.
Yeah, I love old, like the 80s.
Yeah, that's great.
Tim McGraw and
Sturgill Simpson. You know Sturgill Simpson?
Yeah, I know.
He's one of my favorites, and Stapleton now is pretty huge.
Oh, Stapleton's awesome. Yeah.
I enjoy that sound.
How about you, buddy? Bubba?
Bubba, yeah. He's in the 43 this weekend.
Is that not cool?
Well, him and I are good buddies, and we're driving 2 of the most iconic cars in the garage. That is awesome.
I don't know if you're a historian of the sport or not. I assume you are a little bit. The 43 and the 21, I think Pearson and Petty finished first and second like 60-some times.
Oh, wow.
It'd be cool if you and Bubba came down the end of the day, the 21 and the 43, fighting for the win. Would that not be awesome?
We're going to try to make that happen. I hope I'm on the leading end of that,
Now, I was intrigued. I know it wasn't intentional, but almost like a feud with Dale Jr. What?
I thought we were over that.
No, well, you were, but I just wanted to ask you about it because aren't y'all neighbors?
Yeah, we are.
Supposed to love your neighbors.
I know, I do. Bad circumstance, you know. I called him a bad word at Phoenix because I was mad at myself that I burned my tires off trying to pass him, and then it all died down, and then we go to Martinsville 2 weeks later, and I just spit him out like on total accident.
Oh, he was hot. So you're committed to Penske, come hell or high water. If you're not in that 21 car, you're going to be driving a car for Penske.
I hope so. Like I said, you never know what can happen, but
I just wondered if they called you up and said they wanted you to drive that 88 car, if that would interest you at all.
You know, it'd be something that would pique my interest, but you know, it'd be hard to jump ship over there.
It sounds like you got some pretty tough decisions to make.
Right now, we're trying to win races for the Wood Brothers and try to get them to their 100th win. That'd be really special if we can win a couple for those guys this year. And
well, I love loyalty. You know, you only got so many years in this sport. You can be productive, and you only so many years in this sport when you can be something that everybody wants. It's a commodity.
Can't buy loyalty, right? So that's always a trait I've always enjoyed.
All right, man.
I appreciate it.
Enjoyed talking to you.
Yes, sir. Thanks, DW. Appreciate it.
All right, pal.
Kind of like comedians in cars, and Ryan Blaney leads us to who wins, who doesn't. Now, we on a list of 9 drivers who've yet to win this year, and it's an impressive list. These are guys you thought might have won already. We have 8 drivers already. Remember, 16 make the playoff, most we've ever had before the playoff, 15. So over the next 13 races, you're going to give me a check mark. Do they win or not, which would put them in? And I'll start with you, Ryan. Ryan Blaney, what do you think? Does he get a win?
Oh, man, they're going to hit me right at the beginning. I love this kid, but I've just seen too many issues that they've had. Performances there, but no, I'm going to say
Okay, at least an honest assessment. That's a no for Jeff. What about you, Daryl?
Same.
No. Okay.
Oh.
You guys are tough. All right, let's move on.
I'm a much bigger fan
All
after
right.
yesterday.
How about, we'll start with you, Daryl. Kyle Busch, who's on the pole today, is surprisingly winless at this point of the season.
Yeah, I give him a check.
Okay, he gets a win?
I think he'll get a win.
I think he gets a win.
Okay, you both agree on that. 2 yeses for Kyle Busch, just like that. All right, so at least you're going to be now Kevin Harvick, who also surprisingly has not won a race yet this year.
No, he's been really consistent. I'm going to say yes.
Yeah, I got a check for him.
Check for each. Okay.
Yep.
So you got 2 more added to what would be 10 total so far.
Now it gets a little.
All right, Matt Kenseth.
Now it gets a little tricky.
All right, Jeff Gordon. How about Matt Kenseth?
I got a question
I'm gonna
mark.
say, yeah, I have a question mark.
So that's a
no.
no. You have to say yes or no. So that's a okay. And you're going to say no also.
Yeah,
that he doesn't win a race in the next 13.
I just question it.
Okay.
I really do.
That's you guys. This is great to get this kind of insight. Joey Logano, who had the win, remember, but it was encumbered, so it might count statistically, but it doesn't count toward the playoffs. Does he get a win over the next 13?
5 weeks ago, I say absolutely not. I mean, they just lost all kinds of speed, but I see it slowly coming back. I'm going to get his aggressive style. Yes, I'm going to say yes.
I got a question mark. I'm
so
just
you're
not
saying
sure.
a no.
I just don't. I haven't seen it, and so.
Oh, you got to take a no.
I got to go with a no.
Yeah, that's an X.
I got to go with a no.
There's no question marks on there, DW.
All right, you either pass.
I got question marks.
You got on your sheet now.
And this is how the drivers feel. They either win or they don't. They know the score here.
Well, they
All
know
right.
they could.
Denny Hamlin, Daryl, we'll start with you.
Yeah, I got to say he'll win.
You got to. Now you're not just saying that because he was in here.
Yeah, he just came in, so still over there. You win, buddy. Good job.
I mean, these are all
I'm going to say if he's going to do it, it's going to be in Sonoma in a couple weeks. But I say no.
Oh, wow. Okay, so we got a yes, right? You got that?
I'm a no.
And a yes for
Denny.
Darrell Waltrip. All right, here comes a tough one because we know it's his retirement season. Broadcasting looming in his future, the driver of the 88. You were in there recently, Dale Earnhardt Jr. He's out of the top 20, outside of the top 20 in points. Jeff, does he get a win over the next 13?
We have not seen anything that would lead us to believe he's going to, except he was leading at Daytona when that wreck happened. I think he could win at Daytona.
And he's had success here.
Now, what
yes.
he could win or he will win?
Yes.
He's saying yes.
Yes.
Darrell is
I got a question mark, and that's a no, I guess, in my case.
Question.
And I love the guy. I want him to win.
We know, we all do, but this is what fans want to know. All right, Chase Elliott, who should I start with on this? Driver of the 24.
Ding, 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 ding,
Jeff Gordon.
I just think this guy has too many tools, and they're coming up next week at Michigan. I'm telling you, kid's going to win at Michigan. He's fast here today, too.
I got another question mark. I just don't think he'll do it.
All right, so wow, tough. And then Jamie McMurray, who would be in, right? The Ganassi team with Kyle Larson. They're in pretty good shape points-wise, but he doesn't have a win yet. And so does he get a win, yes or no? Jeff, we'll start with you.
Go ahead, DW. No, I mean, I will say that somebody's going to compete with Dale Jr. for the win at Daytona is Jamie McMurray, but unfortunately he's going to have to beat his teammate every week.
That's
and I say no.
Okay.
I say no.
All right, so the total, you guys, between the three of you, we had 8 already. 1, 2, 3.
I have 5.
5 for Jeff. And how many for Daryl? 3 for DW. Wow.
And one of the reasons why I checked those off, because I do believe we're going to have 5 winners over the next 13, new winners over the next.
Yeah, so that would be 13 total. So then the points would figure in the playoff.
We'll have 12 winners. That's
that's what your number indicates. But those are some outstanding drivers that you would think would win. But it's tough out there, right? Plus, we didn't even talk about drivers who could repeat, like a Jimmy Johnson.
Oh, there's plenty of them repeat.
We're looking at the first half of the year, and the no's are based on what we've seen. Now we could do that question mark thing about what might happen, but we can't.
No, you guys, that was a candid assessment.
That's not what our producer gave us the option.
That's all right.
Thanks,
it was
Jake.
a yes or a no. Good work on that.
Sorry, guys.
Appreciate that. How about his debut? Bubba Wallace in a Ford, live at Pocono, his first Cup race, and our guys will talk to him in a moment. Live on race day here at Pocono, there's Richard Petty with Bubba Wallace. Of course, Petty made 43 famous, that number. And let's welcome in Mike Joy to tell us more about what's in a number. Mike?
Well, NASCAR's most famous driver number combination ever is Richard Petty in the number 43, but he's not the only driver to have success with that famous number. Here's a little history. Lee Petty ran the 42. There are his sons, Maurice and Richard, who ran mostly the 43. When Richard retired, they shelved it for a year, brought it back there for Wally Dallenbach Jr. But 9 different drivers made their Cup debut in 43. And 6 drivers have taken that number to victory lane, most recently Eric Almirola. In all, the 43 has 199 total wins in the history of NASCAR. And I don't ever want to see that retired, Chris, because when you see the 43 on the track, you think of Richard Petty, and that's a great thing.
You're right about that, Mike. At 43, Eric Almirola recovering from that crash, and so he's headed. Regan Smith was in the car. Now, at least through this race and possibly next week, Bubba Wallace will drive in a Cup car for the first time, the 43 today. So what advice, now he's been on the track a little bit here, but you guys have raced here, had success here. What advice would you have for him in his first Cup race at Pocono?
Well, first of all, let me just say I've been so impressed with his attitude, with all the personality that he brings to the sport, and the job he's done behind the wheel has been pretty darn good too, especially looking at his qualifying results. I think that the thing about Bubba, he's got to make sure he brings that car home in one piece, gets the absolute best finish that car is capable of, but bringing it home with all the fenders on it and fulfilling a whole race here at Pocono would be huge for him.
Yeah, and he's a very confident guy. I mean, you talk to him, you see it in his interviews. He's a very confident guy, but you don't want to be too overconfident in this race car. It kind of reminds me of Suarez a little bit. Remember, Suarez had never been in a Cup car either, and he jumped in that car this year for Gibbs, and it's taken him a while to get comfortable. I see Bubba today. You never fly on the radar in the 43 car because the 43 car has always been, where is it? But today he just needs to fly onto the radar, not make any mistakes, and bring that car home in one piece.
At age 23, and we saw him greeting the fans. And Jeff, when you say bring the car home in one piece, okay, so you mean like, you got to win it, you got to stay in it, but can you be a little too cautious? I mean, you're out there racing the best.
Well, you can, but you can also be overconfident and take too many risks and make some mistakes. And I think that's going to be the key, what he's going to have to balance out. Certainly he has a lot to learn about this race car on this racetrack, the brakes, the downshifting, all those things, a lot of challenges. So I think being a little more conservative today is going to pay big dividends for him in the long run.
It's a different environment he's in right now. He's never driven a Cup car. He's on a super speedway shifting gears. He's not used to doing that. He's got the dash, the digital dash. He's not used to looking at that. There's a lot of things that it's going to take him a little while just to get familiar with and get comfortable with. might take him the whole race. Maybe at the end you push it a little harder and see what you can get.
A lot of young drivers, what I see the mistake that they make is they come into it going, I've got to impress.
Yeah.
I've got to show my skills, and I want to, the other drivers and people watching to see me do something spectacular. No. I think it's quite the opposite. When all eyes are going to be on you, go out there and be rock solid. That's what's going to be more impressive.
All right, we'll see how.
Drive like the king.
23-year-old Bubba Wallace in the 43. Let's check in with Michael Waltrip, wandering around, enjoying the sunshine out there, Michael. And time for a little grid walk. How are you?
Hey, buds. Hope everybody's doing well in the hotel there. I'm going to honor you guys. Thank you, troops. They're from the USAG Westport, and we really appreciate your commitment and what you mean to our country. Thank you so much. Now I'm going to go on a little grid walk. Those guys are really the best. Let's see. Who's around here today? Hey, I have a question. They call this place the Tricky Triangle. Do you have any idea how many corners are here? I don't know either. So, hey, I'm looking for Jeff Gordon's car. Where'd he qualify, do you know?
Oh, jeez. 7th.
He's 7th. Jeff Gordon. Huh. You know what? The grid walk's not working out perfectly today for race car drivers because there aren't any. How's the car running?
It's fast.
Okay. I talked to Rodney Childers. He has a lot of confidence in the 4 car.
So do I.
Okay, one more question. How did you think Harvick did up in the booth yesterday?
Fantastic.
You are the king of one-word answers.
I try.
That was 2. You watch these guys, they'll really start to broaden out their
Michael,
surroundings,
how do you think
their
Daniel
horizons.
Suarez is going to do today?
This could be the first ever non-camera driver grid walk. Daniel Suarez, I have a question. There's a big soccer match on FS1 this evening after the race, tonight. So listen, Gran Hoyo de Fútbol, hoy quien gana?
Yo creo que gana. I love the United States, but I have to be with Mexico.
USA!
Mexico!
All right.
It's always fun to catch up with Daniel.
Thanks, USA,
And
Mexico.
the Spanish is getting better, Michael.
Yeah, there's a big hockey game tonight, too, don't forget.
And the soccer game on FS1 coming up at 7:30 Eastern time right here after the race. All right, and off the truck, greeting the fans, let's welcome in Bubba Wallace, driver of the Smithfield Ford 43. And we saw your tweet, Bub, and thanks for taking a few moments. How excited you were about your first Cup race. Tell us about your nerves minutes away from getting in and competing in your first Cup race.
I feel the same as I do 2 days ago before climbing in for the first time in the Smithfield Ford. Just having a lot of fun, taking it in, and really enjoying the moment. That's pretty much all the texts have been, just to enjoy this moment, make the most of it. My job is to go out here and just run the best I can. No need to be a superhero. The King has told me that multiple times. Just go out here and do the best that I can.
Hey, Bubba, this is Jeff. Fantastic job this weekend so far, qualifying. Impressed with how you're handling everything. But I got to believe you got to be a little bit rattled in there about what it's going to be like going down into turn 1. This place fans out, gets wild. What's sort of your approach for the start of this race?
Yeah, I think I was watching some footage last night. I think we were 7 wide in the first lap. So hopefully I'm either ahead of that and kind of mind our business free. But we'll see. For me, it's just another race car. It's how I'm treating it. A little bit bigger attitude, a little bit bigger platform. But I'm just going to go out and I'm trying to prove to everybody that I belong here. So not make any mistakes on my end. Just run a good, clean, solid race and deliver or take what the race delivers to us.
Hey, it's the other DW here. You know what? You're going to make it. You know how I know?
The initials?
No, it's that Coke. You got that chug thing down, brother. You got that going for you.
Yeah,
That's going to take you a long way.
And it says It says
hey,
Bubba.
Good luck, Bubba.
All right, Darrell Wallace.
Right. Thank you, guys.
Good luck today.
Good luck, buddy.
All right, appreciate it. He's excited. Boy, I see what you mean about the calm for him. He seems like he's ready to roll. I hope you guys are calm going up to the booth. Real quick, overtime rule after what happened last week. Would you like to see it changed in NASCAR?
I would. You know, I think it was meant more for a Talladega or Daytona. I don't know if it suits every racetrack.
I think we need to identify where the line is, like a light that we flashes when they're to the overtime line. But
yeah,
quite honestly, I wish we didn't have it.
Yes. And what do you think of today? What you have a favorite for today?
Woo! I mean, Kyle Busch can be hard to beat.
Logano.
Wow, those are interesting. Were they on your check
or
list?
his teammate.
I have to look at my notes. Have fun up in the broadcast booth, and we'll watch for the 43 car of Bubba Wallace, Martin Truex Jr., and all the fans anxious to see this race get rolling from the Pocono Mountains. Aerial coverage provided by Goodyear. Everything they learn making tires for the grueling demands of NASCAR inspires what rolls into yours. Goodyear, the official tire of NASCAR. And there's a nice look overview of the Tricky Triangle here in Pennsylvania in the Poconos. You're watching FS1, and we'll take you trackside on a warm, wonderful day for racing.
Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, please rise and remove your hats as the United States Army Garrison West Point Military Police Company Honor Guard presents our nation's colors. Remain standing as Billy Malden from Motor Racing Outreach offers today's invocation.
Let's pray. Gracious God and Heavenly Father, we are so blessed to live in the greatest nation on the face of this earth. And the freedoms that we enjoy here are because of the men and women, both at home and abroad, in uniform that are protecting them. We ask your hand of protection and your blessings upon them, as well as their families. For the drivers and the teams, the officials today, watch over them and keep them safe. And for all these fans, may today be a day full of great memories. Father, may your peace and your presence be with us all. It's in Christ's name I pray. Amen.
Here to honor America with the singing of our national anthem, please welcome Lauren Hart, accompanied by Ashton Johns, a student from the Scranton School for the Deaf and Hard of Hearing Children.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Brian Newman and family, Kyle Busch, the pole sitter. Drivers ready to go, and so are we from Pocono, Pennsylvania. Chevrolet, the official vehicle of NASCAR, is the most awarded car company 3 years in a row. Learn more at Chevrolet.com. Outstanding weather. It was cooler yesterday, has heated up in the Pocono Mountain Range today and in and around the racetrack. There's a lot to do for family, friends, and the drivers and their competitors. With Michael Waltrip, Chris Myers welcoming you back. And checking the drivers, some later developments. Ricky Stenhouse Jr., the upset winner at Talladega, they have to move to the rear of the field for unapproved body modification.
Generally, that's just moving a panel on the body to try to get better aerodynamics. NASCAR saw something they didn't like.
Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s had some success here in the past, looking for that first win this year. He's at the back after an engine change.
Yeah, had a problem getting it out of third gear yesterday in practice, or excuse me, Friday, and blew the engine up.
And we talked about Martin Truex Jr. You like his chances here today. He's also in the back with an engine change.
And that's great for us race fans, us watching on TV today, because it's going to be so fun to watch the strategy and the speed of this 78 car and how they get to the front, because, Chris, they will get to the front.
Interesting hearing Joey Logano's story about how the race at Pocono changed his life. And the odds makers in Las Vegas have made the two-car Brad Keselowski the slight favorite over Larson and Truex.
Well, this just in, Chris, down on pit road, everybody's talking about the speed of Brad Keselowski, so that could be your favorite today from the garage area.
Yeah, he's had a couple of rough rides with Rex in the last few. Matt Kenseth searching for his first victory of this season, as is Joe Gibbs Racing, but they've got Kyle Busch on the pole. So let's take you back trackside and get ready to get this thing rolling.
Race fans, it's time for those most famous words in motorsports. Here to give the command, please welcome our Grand Marshals, Exalta Senior Vice President Joe McDougall and Julia and Alyssa McDougall.
On behalf of Exalta's 14,000 employees around the world, we're happy to say,
Drivers, start your engines!
And the weather outstanding should make for an outstanding race today here in the Poconos. We'll be watching along with you, the guys who will take you through it upstairs as they always do. Jeff Gordon, Darrell Waltrip, and Mike Joy. Mike?
Thanks, Chris, and hi, everybody. This has long been one of my favorite racetracks for many years, closest one to my New England home. But because it presents such unique challenges, 3 different length straightaways, 3 different radius corners, 3 different bankings in the corners, and unique on an oval, you got to be a little shifty.
No, you really do. All these drivers will be shifty today. The shifting is fun here because you use it for passing gear. That's what I like to think about, that third gear. You're going to use that coming off the third turn. You're going to downshift going into the first turn. But the other thing you can use it for, put that baby in high gear and don't shift, you'll save fuel, and you can go a lot further on a tank of fuel if you don't shift.
I was surprised, Jeff, to hear that they run the biggest brakes they run anywhere here.
Especially now with the lower downforce package that we're seeing. We're seeing high speeds, over 200 miles per hour down into turn 1, heavy brake use. It's going to be a lot of temperature that they're going to have to deal with and make sure those brakes last to the end of this race. The other thing that's a good challenge here that I can't wait for is when we get the green flag and they're going to fan out 4 and 5 wide. There's 2 different mindsets on restarts in this original start. Aggressiveness, go down there, let's make something happen, or be conservative. Let's get clean on the downshift, go clean through turns 1. And it's those conflicting mindsets that makes it really exciting for us to watch, and might create that opportunity for one of those drivers to make that winning move.
Well, we're going to see both of those play out today. Take your pick. Who do you like? Kyle Busch comes in as the favorite. Truex and Keselowski. Larson. Some of the legends honored at Pocono outside the entrance tunnel. Everybody's ready to race in the mountains of Pennsylvania.